Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 23, 26, and 27. I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith Yahweh Elohim, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes. And ye shall keep my judgments and do them.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, changed.
The name of this poem is Go Down Moshe. Who are the people dressed in black? It is them brother that is gonna take Jerusalem back. Who are the people dressed in red? It looks like the people Moshe led. Who are the people dressed in gold? It must be the Jews of Yahshua's sheepfold. Who are the people dressed in white? It might be them Hebrew Israelite. The people given dominion over the honey and milk. A people shackled up in prison that their own hands built. In strange land, the same man who came out of Egypt only to go back further west in the sea ship. A people with such a royal heritage who won't consider their past, their future don't know where it is. The Holy One who wrote the scriptures, the only Son for whom Deuteronomy 28 paints a picture, the cursed but blessed, the lost and found, the worst yet best, the bought and bound, the same folks who through history shed 1,000 tears, but it's cool cause we'll rule for more than 1,000 years. People with such a legacy, Negroes, colored, and black man, they just don't describe my pedigree. African American don't apply to me. Both lands named after white man, no if, and, or probably. A nation placed in slavery for disobeying, but the forefather is with whom the covenant's made. From cover to page, to cover again, and can't be swayed, because Yahweh saves, dies, and raised. The third day for Israel's sakes, the 12 tribes scattered abroad, bruised, battered, and scarred. Jews gather from far. Moshe gave them the law, the people of the holy prophets, who the prophet was warned, whom the promise regard. From the adoption to the service of Yah, my people, we've been given a charge. It's all about y'all, represent as the 12 heavenly stars. And the nation on the earth, they know just who we are. Go down Moshe, bid the children, the song of redemption. In their diction, Africa was never mentioned. I'm going down to the river of Jordan, fit the battle of Jericho. How could a people sing about a place they never know? Music of a legacy, telling the history of a people prophesied to have a case of mistaken identity. A long way from home, like a motherless child, longing to raise my babies between the Euphrates and Nile. Wade in the water, the deep river, till we steal away. I ain't got long to stay, we been delivered. The promise of heritage, part of the promise of inheritance, part of the heritage. As long as we can make it out of the wilderness, the marriage is generation exodus. No gospel pursuit, because the truth is in the spirituals, the biblical proof. The late Ariel ben Israel.
All right. Shalom and welcome to our first fruits sermon here. This is entitled First Fruits of Men. Yahweh, our Elohim, is a great king. As it is customary with man, one must be careful as to how we approach unto a great and powerful king. If this is so upon the earth, this is magnified when operating with heavenly things. We must take into consideration that our king is the creator of the entire earth. There is nothing we can offer that will make him lose his footing, as everything that we can offer comes from the earth that he created. As it is written, if I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you. For what do you think that he is nourished by the blood of the goats and calves that men sacrificed unto him? As it is also written, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience and acceptance of his way is as gold tried in the fire, held precious in his sight. The obedient are those who will be raised as first fruits of those born of women. We will begin tonight's sermon in Deuteronomy chapter 26 and read verses 1 through 19. Deuteronomy 26 and verses 1 through 19.
Verse 1. And it shall be, when you are come onto the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you for an inheritance, and possess it, and dwell therein, that you shall take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which you shall bring of your land that Yahweh your Elohim gives you, and you shall put it in a basket, and shall go on to the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose to place his name there.
Now, one of the things we have to consider when we're hearing this, okay, Yahweh is asking for the first of your fruit that comes from the ground. We have to understand that you, as men, are the first fruit of the earth. You were brought forth out from that same ground. You have to understand the connection of what this is. Otherwise, you just think this is something about some crops. This is about what proceeds out of the same earth that you were made from. Go ahead.
And you shall go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto Yahweh I profess this day unto Yahweh your Elohim, that I am come unto the country which Yahweh sware unto our fathers to give us. And the priest shall take the basket out of your hand and set it down before the altar of Yahweh your Elohim. And you shall speak and say before Yahweh your Elohim, a Syrian ready to perish was my father, and he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous. And the Egyptians evil entreated us, and afflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. And when we cried unto Yahweh our fathers, and when we cried unto Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, Yahweh heard our voice, and looked on our affliction, and our labor, and our oppression. And Yahweh brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs, and with wonders. And he has brought us into this place, and has given us this land, even a land that flows with milk and honey. And now, behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land, which you, O Yahweh, has given me. And you shall set it before Yahweh your Elohim, and worship before Yahweh your Elohim. And you shall rejoice in every good thing which Yahweh your Elohim has given unto you, and unto your house, you and the Levite and the stranger that is among you. When you have made an end of tithing all the tithes of your increase the third year, which is the year of tithing, and has given it unto the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within your gates and be filled, then you shall say before Yahweh your Elohim, I have brought away the hallowed things out of mine house, and also have given them unto the Levite, and unto the stranger, to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all your commandments which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commandments, neither have I forgotten them. I have not eaten thereof in my mourning, neither have I taken away aught thereof for any unclean use, nor given aught therefore for the dead. But I have hearkened to the voice of Yahweh my Elohim, and have done according to all that you have commanded me. Look down from your holy habitation from heaven, and bless your people Israel, and the land which you have given us, as you sweareth unto our fathers, a land that flows with milk and honey. This day Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you to do these statutes and judgments. You shall therefore keep and do them with all your heart and with all your soul. You have avouched Yahweh this day to be your El, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes, and his commandments, and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice. And Yahweh has avouched you this day to be his peculiar people, as he has promised you, and that you should keep all his commandments, and to make you high above all nations which he has made, in praise, and in name, and in honor, and that you may be an holy people unto Yahweh your El, as he has spoken.
Now, if we jump back to verse 18, and our issue is we want a lot of these great things without being looked at thoroughly by Yahweh. Verse 18, and Yahweh has avouched you this day to be his peculiar people. So when you talk about something peculiar, it stands out. It is set apart. It is different from all the other things upon the earth. And even in our sinful nature, we were always different from other people. Even in the street, we are completely different. This is why other nations and the owners of industry and business have tried to find a way to corral us with their commercialized thinking, because they know how influential we are as a people. I listened to one of the ish music execs that owned like Universal Records. I mean, he owned a very large part. And he talked about there's no way you can be in the music industry and not have something of urban music. It is the pulse of life. Now, this is a Gentile telling you that he needs to own the music of the urban. Urban is code name for black. So it's interesting that these people would say that they need to have ownership of whatever music is dealt with these people. That's a very, very interesting statement out of the mouth of an executive, not from just some random individual. We're talking about an individual who is over the distribution of about 7 or 8 different labels. And he brags about the black labels that he has. So this peculiar people, the nations want to possess that. Verse 19, and to make you high above all nations. Well, if he's going to do that, he starts getting into particular, which he has made in praise and in name and in honor, and that you may be an holy people unto Yahweh your Elohim as he has spoken. Well, for him to make you peculiar and to be in all of those things, it's going to get a little intrusive and get just a tad bit personal when it comes down to what you think, feel, and believe. Because at the end of the day, it is about what presents his name in the right fashion. Those are the things that are important unto me, says Yahweh. When you get down to some of these things here, he says, I've been made to serve you in your sins. Wait a minute. Yahweh said, wait. That's awfully personal at this moment. Now, because I put my name on you, and then you decided that you wanted to go out and operate this way or that way, I have now been made to serve you. Here is a God saying that I have now been put in the position of doing something that I don't want to do. But I put my name on you. And the first thing we get a problem with is something that when we feel like it's something that we don't want to do. And never consider the positions that we put our Elohim in. When we get off in a situation, and here it is, he says, now I got to serve you in your sin. Do we consider that when we are bothered and we don't want Yahweh that personal in our business? Do we even consider how much we all in his? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23, and we're going to read verses 9 through 14.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Shabbat, the priest shall wave it. And you shall offer that day, when you wave the sheaf, an he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto Yahweh.
Now, these are the parts that our forefathers did not see as they were coming at Yahshua. He is this he lamb. It says verse 11, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted for you on tomorrow after the Shabbat. The Shabbat was yesterday. You have Passover. You have the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is always a Sabbath. Tomorrow, after the Sabbath. Now you're dealing with the third day. Now you're dealing with this ram. Now you're dealing with a true sanctified offering right here on this third day. Now you're dealing with the first fruits unto men. It was already set in the law. This is why people think that Yahweh had Yahshua nailed the law to the curse. Everything nailed the law to his cross. I mean, you have this situation where every part of this resurrection is according to the law. He wasn't just doing some stuff on the third day. The law had already set forth. Everything that he was doing was about the law. He wasn't doing away with the law. He was keeping it. So here it is. You got people that deal with part of what we read before. They got some Easter baskets. And they put some eggs in it to make it look like fruit. That's why they color the eggs all different little colors and everything. So it's supposed to look like this while they're keeping a fertility ritual. See, bunnies don't lay eggs. So there's something else that's going on with bunnies and eggs. This is all about fertility. But they're going to put the little basket and connect bits and pieces of Yahweh's law. And we don't even know how they have made merchandise of us. These things sell big every year when they come around. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of an hin.
Right. So the drink offering thereof shall be wine. He said grape juice. That means, but Yahweh also said, we read in other parts that, hey, it's a problem when a man is a drunkard. So just because Yahweh allows you to drink wine don't mean you're supposed to drink it until it's running out your pores. Just because he allows you to partake in something, you don't drink until you vomit and then say, I think I'll stop now. This is part of what's supposed to be done, but it's also supposed to be done in moderation. Go ahead.
And you shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that you have brought an offering unto your El. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
So, when you examine this part of the statute, verse 14, and you shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears. If you look at everything that's made with parched corn, if you don't give your offering, and you shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, there's a whole lot of stuff you can't eat. You think unleavened bread is something. Oh, no. You have some serious issues. You cannot eat any of those things until the self-same day that you have brought an offering unto your Elohim. Remember, he's asking for the first fruit that comes from the ground that he made you out of. So when he says, okay, you don't obey my order, I'm cutting off certain things that come from that earth until the self-same day that you bring that offering. This is why I said no matter what, an appearance must be made if a man don't show up with nothing but $1. Because indeed, nobody can tell you what your offering should be. So if anybody tells you that there's a numerical number that you're supposed to offer, those people have lied unto you. Because the scripture says no such thing. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4. I remember watching these broadcasts where the Christians deal with, especially Pentecost, because they can find that in the New Testament, and they don't have to go back and explain that it is an Old Testament feast. They can deal with Pentecost and stay directly in the New Testament. And because they keep the individuals in the New Testament, they start with other things. So they're telling them that it has to begin at $1,000. I was boiling, pacing back and forth in my living room, listening to it. I'm so hot, if I could jump through the TV and swing on a knuckle, I would have swung. And people are starting their offerings at 1,000. He telling them how much to bring. I'm so hot, I don't know what to do. But these are the kind of things we like. When people offer us the opportunity to buy off our sins, because that's what that was. That's what that was. You can go ahead and do what you want. Just make sure you purchase this sin buy-off plan. That is not how my Elohim operates. Genesis chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell.
Now, this is the core part of anger among brethren unto this day. Acceptance and non-acceptance. It still causes us problems right now to this very moment. That one offering is accepted and another offering is not. Now, that offering is not accepted because one may be better than the other. This is where it starts to get interesting. Because somebody may think that, I offered a shiny red offering. Surely this is better. But what Abel offered was the firstlings of his flock. See, he showed obedience unto Yahweh before there is law to tell him. He offers the first, right off the top, not the stuff that's left over. Now, Cain might have picked some very good fruit. We don't even consider that. We think when we read this that maybe he just brought some old dried up stuff. And y'all were like, man, I don't want that dried up stuff. No. This may have been the most beautiful fruit you have ever seen in your life. And maybe he picked those, the best of each thing. And he has this, and he's looking at it. And he said, man, this is one colorful basket of goodies I got here. This looks amazing. And Yahweh refuses it. This is where things could get interesting. Where two brothers might do a work. And one work might seem like it's way better than the other. But Yahweh don't accept this one. But he accepts this. He said, wait a minute, but that work ain't as good as mine. No, but that was his first fruit. That wasn't your first. So we comparing whether or not he's going to accept it by how good we think it is. You don't know your God. Go ahead, brother.
Brother, when you look at the whole situation, to bring your first, that means you have to set it aside, sanctify it, separate it in order to be able to give it. Because if your first set of fruits, if you're not paying attention and you just keep throwing everything together, after a while, you don't know which one was
You don't know which one was your first. And here's another thing. You don't know how much you're going to get yet. See, if you grab that first and you give it unto Yahweh, now you wonder, okay, well, how much am I going to get? But you done already gave your first. What happened if I don't get a whole lot? What happened if I, no, the first makes a statement. And once we get in our head that the first belongs to Yahweh, it's not even a thought. See, this is how people get in trouble. They work and they get paid and they count all their money. Let me tell you something. If rent's $600, that money don't belong to you. You can't get a $1,200 check and say, I got $1,200. No, you right off the rip, you at $6. All right? Right off the rip, before anything, you at $6. Why? Rent got that. That belong to rent. That don't belong to you. Do you have power in that house? All right, well then go ahead and take that out of there. That don't belong to you either. Once you get that in your head, you're not bothered. But the individual who believes that every time they get paid, that all of that is theirs, they have a problem. Now they're angry when they pay the power bill. Did you turn the lights on? Yes. Well, shut up then. What are you angry for? Because they thought the whole check was theirs. You understand that you need lights. You understand that you got to pay rent. Why are you angry at things that you already know has to be done? Go ahead, bro.
And Yahweh said unto Cain, why are you angry? And why is your countenance fallen? If you does well, shall you not be accepted? And if you does not well, sin lies at the door, and unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him.
Right. Yahweh said unto Cain, why are you angry? You angry because your offering was not accepted? You have to think about how upset some of the people were when you have rich men coming in and casting their offering. And here come this woman and she come put in her two little cents. And Yahweh said, she is giving more than all. Wait a minute. I put in the kind of stuff you can't jingle what I put in there. They had to open up the box to put my stuff in there. I couldn't even slide it through the hole. She gave more than all y'all. Wait a minute. An accepted offering looks different unto your Elohim than it looks unto you. So be careful when you count, because you don't know how he counting. You think you know how he counting. You think that he accepting yours and not accepting theirs, because to you, yours looks better. What made Cain so angry? Would a man be angry if he brought some old rotten fruit and it wasn't accepted? No. He thought he brought something dynamite, Jack. He thought for sure this is going to be accepted. Right. Go ahead.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
So his anger against not being accepted. And see, part of our problem is always seeking some kind of acceptance one way or another. So then when we don't get that acceptance, that anger turns at somebody. So now we don't get the acceptance, we angry. But who we angry at? Not the one who didn't accept us. Just on the closest negroidal figure we can find. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
Arrogance at this point. Go ahead.
And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand.
Now, wait a minute now. I need you to connect. Man was brought forth out of the ground. He then killed a man and shed blood in the ground. Yahweh's answer is you will be cursed from the ground, from where you came from. You need to follow your Elohim. He's awfully poetic. He don't have to rhyme though. Go ahead.
When you tilleth the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto you her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall you be in the earth.
Wait a minute. All his curse is connected to the earth that he came from. Go ahead.
And Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
Now, isn't it interesting that the ones who have absolutely no mercy always asking for what they didn't give? Isn't it interesting that the ones who are the most critical can't take no criticism? My punishment is more than I can bear. Have mercy on me. You mean that same mercy you had on your brother? You mean you want me to have that? You want me to be so merciful that I shed your blood? You want me to be so merciful that I wait until you turn your head and knock you? That's what you want? Or you want something that you didn't give? That's what you want. Go ahead.
Behold, you have driven me out this day from the face of the earth.
Oh, no, you didn't. You're going to drive me out, not me. What did you drive your brother? Where did you drive him? Tell me where he at. But you have driven me. Me. Woe is me. But look at me, Yahweh. Look at me. Go ahead.
And from your face shall I be hid.
From your face shall I be hid. Whoa. You shed blood in the earth that you came from. Go ahead.
And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that finds me shall slay me.
Everyone that finds me shall slay. Protect me like I didn't protect my brother. Don't let these people do to me what I did to him. Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it. Go ahead.
His own paranoia has got him thinking everybody's going to come at him like you said, like he did to that
Right.
man. Is that not what we face here?
Right. Brother, we face it every angle here. See? The people who steal don't never want to be stole from. The people who lie don't never want to be lied on. See? The ones who know they've done wrong, they constantly looking at everybody else. You finna do me wrong? You finna do me wrong? Why? Because you know what you did to your brother. So the shedder of blood is now worried about everybody shedding his blood. So much, in fact, put a mark on me then. Yeah, go ahead and do that so they won't kill me like I did my brother. Have mercy on me, Yahweh. I mean, I don't have none. But please have some for me. I always found it interesting when you watch them gangster movies and the gangster done kill 10, 12 people. And it's his time to die. And oh boy, does he sing a song. Oh, he goes through everything. You mean tell me you done took all these lives? And you gonna sit here and cry when it's your time to die? You gonna sit here and beg and try to plead and you gonna try to bribe? You mean you gonna do all that after all these lives you've taken? Interesting. Let's go to Numbers chapter 12. See, we don't really understand what it takes to be a peculiar people. See, in the process of him making us peculiar, he gonna make you a little uncomfortable. It's real comfortable to walk in a room and look a certain way if everybody else looked that way. See, if everybody in the room is dressed in complete and utter ignorance, then you walking in ignorant, you fit right in. But if everybody in that room is dressed in ignorance and you come in holy attire, now you're peculiar. But peculiar don't fit in. Fitting in is the opposite of peculiar. So we fighting that drive to fit in and to be peculiar all at the same time. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 12 and verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married.
Now, if she was just upset about the Ethiopian woman and she kept it at the Ethiopian woman, we don't know if Yahweh would have even intervened. Because at that point, it's just a little bit of gossip.
Can't stand that he married that Ethiopian woman. He already had brought that Amalekite woman in here. We don't care nothing about these people. Then he gonna marry this doggone Ethiopian?
We don't know if Yahweh would have jumped in. But she went a little further. Go ahead.
And they said, Has Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe?
Now we getting into the interesting part. So because they're mad, see, and this is what flesh does. Flesh mad about one thing, but flesh deal with something else. So flesh mad about the marriage to the Ethiopian. Then what does flesh do? Now question his authority. Has Yahweh only spoken by Moshe? Go ahead.
Has he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it.
Okay, he heard it. Okay, let's back up. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. All right, verse 2. And they said, Had Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe? Has he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it. So it lets you know which part he was upset about. No, y'all want to talk that mess about who he married and all of that. I'll ignore that talk. But when you brought that talk and decided that you was going to step on his place of authority that I made him suffer for, now you in my business. Now we finna have to take care of this. Go ahead.
Not only that, he must hear you because you call his name.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to say, Has Yahweh only spoken? Oh, wait. Because if somebody out in the hallway and they say,
You got it.
Man, Esaac, your
ear turn on.
Right.
Hey, I heard my name.
What the hell? Hold on. What's going on?
I heard my name. See, when folks in some mess, they need to learn how to leave Yahweh's name out their mouth. But see, sometimes you cross that line and then Yahweh had to sit you down for a second. Go ahead.
Now the man Moshe was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth.
Now, there's a reason why after the betrayal of his family, closest family, what is betrayal? This brother and sister, understand, this closest thing he got right here. This is the closest thing he got right here. And who comes against him? Brother and sister. Man, brother, sister go, this closest thing I got here. But sometimes it's the closest ones to you that believe that they can show indignation and not suffer any reproach about it. Go ahead.
And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moshe, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, Come out, you three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you.
Now, wait a minute. I need you to also pay attention to what he's dealing with. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. And he started, If there be a prophet. Verse 6, why he didn't say, Hear now my word. If I give him an Ethiopian woman and that's what I want him to have, then shut your... You know that he ain't dealing with that, right? I need you to pay attention to what he's dealing with. See, had you just kept your mess on one level, but what you did was you took your mess into my house. See, now we're going to have to dance. See, had you just kept your little gossip the way that it was. He's not even addressing that. He's not even addressing who he married to. No. I'm going to show you what I'm going to deal with. If there be a prophet among you, he ain't even mentioned what they were really angry about. No. He just going to deal with what your anger helped you to do. I don't care nothing about what you're angry about. That wasn't where the sin was. The sin was what you let it do. Go ahead.
I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moshe is not so, who is faithful in all mine house.
That's faithful in all my house. When I send a change in his life, he changed with it. I sent some turmoil in his life to make him turn left, he turned left. I sent him into the wilderness and make him learn under a strange priest, he go in there and he learned. I run him out of Pharaoh's house, he run out. Everything I've sent him to do, he has done. So why is it you who hadn't been through no changes so eager to open your mouth against my servant? Go ahead.
With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of Yahweh shall he behold. Therefore then, why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe?
Why were you not afraid? Why did it seem regular unto you? He still ain't dealt with that marriage question. He's not dealing with that. So that's some man stuff. Y'all see to that. But I'm going to take care of you questioning his authority. I'm going to take care of you questioning the way that he does his job. I'm going to take care of that. That little mess you mad about, I'm not even addressing that. But you're going to learn today. Go ahead.
And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle. And, behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moshe, Alas, my master, I beseech you, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he comes out of his mother's womb. And Moshe cried unto Yahweh, saying, Heal her now, O Elohim, I beseech you. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days?
Should she not be ashamed 7 days? He said, oh, no. I got to make a point, and she needs to be separated. She needs to learn where my brother stopped and the leader begins. Stay in your lane. Go ahead.
Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in again. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again.
Right. Yahweh wasn't trying to kill her. What he was doing to make sure she learned to control her lips. See, when he sets you down, he's trying to get your attention. You need to sit down and meditate. Why he sit me down? So you'll learn, you know what? I ain't going to entertain whatever that was that came out my mouth. So you need to find what that transgression is and make sure you don't do that again. See, people say, okay, it was 7 days. I don't think you understand. Outside the camp is outside the gate. Don't just go outside. No. The enclosure is here. You go and stay outside the enclosure. Everybody is in this part. Wild beasts on the outside of the enclosure. We talking about a woman. Bugs, animals. Animals see absolutely amazing at night. And you got to hear this all night. Shh. What? Should go through that for 7 days. You don't read of another time where she has decided to part her lips again against Yahweh's servant. He showed her that fat meat was greasy. Please believe that it's greasy. Don't make him show you. Don't make him show you. Let's go to Exodus chapter 25. Go ahead, brother. You got something?
Yeah, it's just like, in this day and age, we got so much going on. And like you brought up earlier, this is family. We're talking about brothers and sisters. And we don't stop and think about spiritual family, even the connection of husband, wives, children. We got all this mass communication devices, people texting stuff back and forth. At some point when you're being dealt with, how do you know what it is you're being dealt with so much going on?
Right. And sometimes that may extend your separation because you done put so many things out there, you don't know which one to go and pray about. Now you trying to figure out, and while you figuring it out, he just leaving you out there until you figure it out. I remember when Yahweh gave me what I thought was just a thought that I had, and I didn't move. Oh, I got punished for every hour until I moved. So you can take your time figuring it out, and he'll take his time leaving you out. Exodus chapter 25, and let's read verses 1 through 9.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering of every man that gives it willingly.
Willingly. That's the key word right there. Go ahead.
With his heart you shall take my offering. And this is the offering which you shall take of them, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins and shittim wood, all for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them.
Right. So you think about all of these things that Israel was given. All right. It says, borrow of the Egyptians gold and silver and jewels and all of these things. Then when it comes time to build this sanctuary, he said, let them bring an offering, every man that gives it willingly. He the one that caused them to get all of that. But he still put it upon them willingly. If it's in their heart, let them give. But he had sense enough to know not to give us no reparations while we were still there. He knew exactly what would have happened with it. Go ahead.
According to all that I show you, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it.
All right. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9.
Second Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1. For as touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. For I know the forwardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to them of Macedonia. That Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal has provoked very many.
Wait a minute. He says down here, you're doing absolutely amazing. For I know the forwardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to them of Macedonia, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal has provoked very many. So they said, all right, your work is amazing, and it's encouraging other people. Go ahead.
Yet have I sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain in this behalf, that, as I said, you may be ready. Least happily, if they of Macedonia come with me.
Now, they're going to hear how great your work is, right? And then some of them said, well, man, you going over there? Well, I want to go with you to see these great people. Go ahead.
And found you unprepared.
Wait a minute. They found you on a bad day. They done heard all this great stuff, but you in your feelings that day. Now they came to see because they done heard about the great things that you do. But you don't feel like being bothered that day. But he done been boasting about you. He been talking about you. Go ahead.
We that we say not you should be ashamed in this same confident boasting. Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren that they would go before unto you and make up beforehand your bounty, whereof you had noticed before, that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty and not as of covetousness. But this I say, he which sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudging.
Not grudgingly. Now this is very interesting. The next one, go ahead.
Not grudgingly or of necessity.
Wait a minute. Or of necessity. What is he talking about?
Well, I mean, I go ahead, I cut the grass if ain't nobody else gonna cut it, you know.
I tell you what, get the hell away from the lawnmower. Get the hell away, put the gas down. Get the hell away from the lawnmower. If that's the way you got to act, move away from it. You're not already pausing your work. You done pausing your own work. Go ahead.
For Elohim loves a cheerful giver.
Uh-huh.
And Elohim is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work.
All right, brother. Let's go to Numbers chapter 20. And see, this is a pretty big thing because sometimes we can get to the point of feeling overwhelmed, and that overwhelming thing can turn around and be our damnation. But it's a great work, but we have to be even more careful the greater the work is. And even great men get caught up with this right here. Numbers chapter 20, and let's read verses 1 through 13.
Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moshe and spake, saying, what Elohim that we had died when our brethren died before Yahweh.
Now, this is the part that Miriam and Aaron didn't get before. This individual who Yahweh has placed in this seat has to deal with the aggressive nature of the children of Israel every time they get angry about something. Every time something don't go their way, they bring their anger and aggression to him. As it is written, I've been made to behold the anger, the aggression of all of that, the hatred of those that hate you. They can't see you, Yahweh, so they bring their disdain to me. This is one of the things of why it angered Yahweh so much that you're going to come and step on his position. Because every bit of aggression, he got to deal with that. So now, they're upset. And now they come to Moshe. Now, Moshe is getting this over and over and over again. Now, wait a minute, it's starting to wear on him. He's starting to feel just a hint of minty freshness in now. Go ahead.
Why have you brought up the congregation of Yahweh into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us in onto this evil place?
All this his fault. Whenever something don't go their way, all of it is his fault. Go ahead.
It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And Moshe and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly onto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of Yahweh appeared unto them. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Take the rod, and gather you the assembly together, you and Aaron your brother, and speak you unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and you shall bring forth to them water out of the rock.
All right, he told him to go speak to the rock. Go ahead.
So you shall give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh, as he commanded him, and Moshe and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, you rebels.
All right, that ain't what Yahweh said. That ain't what Yahweh said. Now he done got, his hint of minty freshness has caused him to go to another level. Yahweh didn't tell him nothing about no rebels. He said, speak to the rock. Moshe fussing at the rock. Here now, you rebels. Go ahead.
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Now, must we fetch you? Wait a minute. Yahweh said, speak to the rock. Yahweh gonna cause water to come out of the rock. Now, you've gotten so angry with the people because they have brought you their negativity. Now you have brought their negativity back to them. But you forgot what Yahweh told you to do. See, oftentimes when we getting off in our feelings, we done forgot our instructions. Now we operating in the feelings of what we think has come to us. So now he has had negative energy come to him. He is now returning that negative energy with more negative energy. Go ahead.
Because Yahweh didn't tell him to address the people at all. Now he talking to the people.
Speak to the rock. Speak to the rock. But see, this is what happened when folk push you and you let yourself get off of what you're supposed to be dealing with. Go ahead.
And Moshe lifted up his hand, and with his rod, he smote the rock
now
twice.
He's beating the rock. Now he angry with the rock. The same rock that's supposed to provide water. He beating the rock. Why? Because he angry at them. Once again, he angry with the rock. But he hitting the rock. He's angry with one thing, but he smoked something else. Go ahead.
And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beast also. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and Aaron, because you believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
Wait a minute. Out of all these great works and all these great things that you have done, because you got in your feelings and you done dealt with this the wrong way, your ride stops here. But Yahweh, I've done more than all of them. Right. Your ride is over. Go ahead and pull that string. Bing. That's your stop. You can't ride this bus no further. Oh, and don't think he don't go later on. Yahweh, can we... don't talk to me no more about this. We're not discussing this. I gave you instructions. I gave you a charge. You let the people in the charge redirect your charge. This is as far as you go with me. Go ahead.
This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with Yahweh, and he was sanctified in them.
All right. Let's go to Luke chapter 9. See, one thing we have to understand is dealing with Israel. Dealing with Israel is a hell of a job. It's a hell of a job. And he can't get the squeamish. He can't get the faint at heart. He can't even get the real tender feeling individuals to deal with Israel. He had to pick certain kind of people to deal with Israel. He even warned them, look, I'm telling you, don't be afraid of the looks on their face. Because, hey, look, I made your face as hard as flint. Be ready. Because this is a different kind of people here. So if you're going to take any charge in Israel, one of the first things you have to put in check is your feelings. I don't care how talented you are at whatever job it is. The first thing that you got to tuck under your belt is your feelings. Because Israel going to hurt that. They're going to try their best to hurt that. They want to know, where you keep your feelings? Really? Yeah, there they go. Oh, if you ain't got that in check, you're not going to be able to work along with Israel. You might be the most talented cat in the room. But you ain't got that part taken care of. Israel gonna take care of that business right now. Because they're going to see it. And when they see it, they're going to keep poking at it. What's this? What's that right here? Oh, that's your feet. You mean every time I do this? You mean this right there? You mean that box, this right here? So I probably shouldn't keep doing this, huh? Right. One or two things gonna happen. Either your feelings gonna get tougher, or this gonna run you out. Ain't but two options. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 9 and verse 46. Then there arose a reasoning among them, which of them should be greatest. And Yahshua, perceiving the thought of their heart, took a child and set him by them, and said unto them, Whosoever shall receive this little child in my name receives me, and whosoever shall receive me receives him that sent me. For he that is least among you all, the same shall be great.
Wait a minute. Now, we like to read stuff like that, but wait a minute. Hold on now. What you mean the least shall be the greatest? No, I think I should be the greatest because I think my work is better than everybody else's work. So you should applaud me, Yahweh. Wait a minute. What if he don't see that the way we see that? He said, hey, Yahshua has been endowed with great gifts and spirit, but he was your servant. He ministered unto you. My elder used to ask a question. Are you comforting the people, or are you seeking to be comforted? Which one you doing? Do you have the drive to comfort the people, or are you showing up seeking for the people to comfort you? Go ahead.
And Yohanan answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out devils in your name, and we forbade him, because he follows not with us. Yahshua said unto him, Forbid him not, for he that is not against us is for us. Mm-hmm. And it came to pass, when the time was come that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go into Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face, and they went, and entered into a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. And they did not receive him.
They did not receive him, all right? And they can tell that they did not receive him by how he moves. Go ahead.
Because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. And when his disciples, Jacob and Johanan, saw this, they said, Adonai, will you that we command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, even as Elias did?
Hold on. They didn't accept you, Yahshua. Let's make fire come down from heaven and let's burn them to a crisp. Go ahead.
But he turned and rebuked them and said, You know not what manner of spirit you're of.
You know not what manner of spirit you are. Yahshua never misses a teaching opportunity. He don't care who feelings get hurt. All he care about is that you understand the spirit that drives this entire work. He said, you don't understand what manner of spirit you are of. Go ahead.
For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. And they went to another village.
Right. So instead of just burning the people up, he said, man, we just go somewhere else, man. Come on, bro. It's not that serious. You think I'm going to kill these people because they don't accept me? He didn't try to go over there and make them people accept him either, though, did he? Okay. Right. Message. Pick up. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 2. He knows that the offended gonna stay offended. Zechariah chapter 2, and let's start at verse 1.
I lifted up mine eyes again, and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, Whither goeth you? And he said unto me, To measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him, and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, says Yahweh, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho, come forth, and flee from the land of the north, says Yahweh. For I have spared you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, says Yahweh.
I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven. So he scattered Israel. Go ahead.
Deliver yourself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, After the glory has he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye.
He that touches you touches the apple of his eye. He's still attentive unto the ear of Israel's prayer. So it doesn't matter if the apple of his eye touched the apple of his eye. He's still going to deal with the apple of his eye. So please don't think you more of an apple than somebody else.
Well, I'm a shinier apple.
All right. You're going to find out today. Go ahead.
For, behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for, lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of you, says Yahweh.
You know, one of these things, verse 7, deliver yourself, O Zion, that dwells with the daughter of Babylon. We are so intent on physical deliverance, we think that means just jump up and hop on a plane. He brought Israel out of Egypt, but he didn't let them go into the land of Canaan. Why? Because Egypt was still in their heart. It didn't matter that they wasn't in physical Egypt anymore. Egypt was inside of them. So folks think they can just buy a ticket and deliver themselves. No. Babylon in here. You got to get Babylon out of here. I don't care how many tickets you buy. Then all you did was move Babylon. You move, you pack up Babylon right with you, go to Israel and unpack Babylon. Now you're in a worse position. Because now you done brought Babylon into his house. Go ahead.
And many nations shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people. And I'll dwell in the midst of you. And you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. And Yahweh shall inherit Yehudah, his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before Yahweh, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation.
All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Go ahead, brother. Start that at verse 1.
Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also you have received, and wherein you stand, by which also you are saved, if you keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless you have believed in vain. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Yahshua died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures, and that he was seen of Cephas, then of the 12. After that, he was seen of above 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain unto this present, but some are fallen asleep. After that, he was seen of Jacob, then of all the apostles. And last of all, he was seen of me also, as of one born out of due time. For I am the least of the apostles, that I am not meet to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of Elohim. But by the grace of Elohim, I am what I am. And his grace, which was bestowed upon me, was not in vain. But I labored more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of Elohim which was with me. Therefore, whether it were I or they, so we preach, and so you believe. Now if Yahshua be preached that he rose from the dead, how say some among you that there is no resurrection of the dead? But if there be no resurrection of the dead, then Yahshua is not risen. And if Yahshua be not risen, then is our preaching vain, and your faith is also vain. Yea, and we are found false witnesses of Elohim, because we have testified of Elohim that he raised up Yahshua, whom he raised not up. If so be that the dead rise not. For if the dead rise not, then is not Yahshua raised. And if Yahshua be not raised, your faith is vain, you are yet in your sins. Then they also which are fallen asleep in Yahshua are perished. If in this life only we have hope in Yahshua, we are of all men most miserable. But now is Yahshua risen from the dead, and become the firstfruits of them that slept. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
But now is the Mashiach risen from the dead, and become the firstfruits of them that slept. For since by man came death, by man also came the resurrection of the dead. So if we go all the way back and deal with the things of Leviticus, dealing with the first fruit, we find that Yahweh was already dealing with a much deeper concept, way deeper than fruit. So if you stuck on veggies at this point, you don't really understand what's going on. Go ahead.
For as in Adam all die, even so in Yahshua shall all be made alive. But every man in his own order, Yahshua the firstfruits, after they that are Yahshua's at his coming.
All right, so now we're not just talking about the first fruits. Now we're dealing with the first fruits of men. So we keep the lesser order, hoping to be a part of the greater. See, as it is written, if you have not been faithful of that which is another man's, how shall he give you your own? If you haven't been faithful in first fruits dealing with regular vegetables, How you going to be entrusted to be one of the first fruits of men? Go ahead.
Then comes the end, when he shall deliver up the kingdom to Elohim, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. For he must reign till he has put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. For he has put all things under his feet. But when he says all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did put all things under him. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him, that Elohim may be all in all. Else, what shall they do which are baptized for the dead? If the dead rise not at all, why are they then baptized for the dead? And why stand we in jeopardy every hour? I protest by your rejoicing, which I have in Yahshua HaMashiach our Adonai, I die daily.
To die daily. Each one of these things, to be renewed in the spirit, also means we're dying daily. Why? A little bit of that old man is being taken away from us, bit by bit. This is the process of becoming unleavened. Unleavened cleaning is the most intrusive thing ever. It's awfully personal. Because you got to go and take all those things out that cabinet. You got to go and pull all those things out them drawers. Some of them stuff you done forgot you put in those drawers. You don't really want all that to just be put out right there. Some of that stuff you done hid under the bed and you pull it out, you go, man, I forgot I put that under there. Oh, it's awfully intrusive. So is the process of becoming unleavened. It's quite messy. It is the messiest cleaning you will ever be a part of. You can straighten up in 5 minutes. Unleavened cleaning is intrusive. But if you're not ready to let him get a little personal and get in there and get some of that stuff out, then what you're saying is just leave me dirty. Go ahead.
If after the manner of men I have fought with beasts at Ephesus, what advantage it me, if the dead rise not? Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. Be not deceived. Evil communication corrupts good manners. Awake to righteousness, and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame.
Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. Miriam got involved in some evil communication. And it corrupted the good manners of other people who heard it. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14, and let's read verses 1 through 5.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth.
Right. It said the first fruits of men, and then the first fruits after that. So now you have Yahshua being the first fruits unto men, and then those that are his after. Here they go. And we talking about 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. So we're not talking about just all Levi. We're not talking about all Judah. Because half the time, that's all people want to talk about, Levi and Judah. We all can't be Levi and Judah. Go ahead.
These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins.
And if they are born again, what does it say? In the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, because they are like the angels. If they redeemed from the earth, they pulled them out. Those are the ones who died in the Mashiach. Those then are resurrected. That's why they are also first fruits of the earth. They will not have a desire to marry. Go ahead.
These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes.
Mm-hmm.
These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb.
They were redeemed from among men. Go ahead.
And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Elohim.
Absolutely, without fault before the throne of Elohim. And let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Exodus chapter 23. Exodus chapter 23, and we're going to read verses 10 through 19.
And 6 years you shall sow your land, and shall gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie still, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beast of the field shall eat. In like manner you shall deal with your vineyard and with your olive yard.
So Yahweh has given us a way to deal with his earth. Remember, the same earth that we were brought forth out of. But the heathen doesn't deal with Yahweh's land or any land in that manner. Go ahead.
6 days you shall do your work, and on the 7th day you shall rest, that your ox and your ass may rest, and the son of your handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed.
Wait a minute. And your ox and your ass may rest. When it's your Sabbath all the way across the board. Your animal don't work either. Your servants don't work either. So you have folks that say, I ain't going to work, but my shop is open on the Sabbath. Why? Well, that's our biggest money day. Your animal's supposed to rest on the Sabbath. How do you think the servants learn to love Yahweh's Sabbath? They say, I don't really know nothing about this Yahweh, but I tell you what, he liked that 7th day. Why you say that? Because, man, my boss don't ask me to do nothing on his Sabbath day. Man, he really believes in this Sabbath. He operates differently on that day. This is how the stranger then begins to love the ways of your Elohim. How y'all think we learn to love Christmas so much? The same people who was beating, murdering, and raping us all of a sudden happy. We didn't understand what that was, but I tell you what, look here, I didn't get beat today. I barely picked any cotton. The overseer wasn't even out there. He always out there. We began to figure it out. All right. When they start putting up that tree and they start decorating, all of a sudden they turn happy. These people mean as snakes all year long. Horrible. But when they put that tree up, all of a sudden they smiling. Automatically. Oh, we love this time. So we learn to love their gods by how they operate. How is it that other people don't get to do the same thing around us? They should learn to love your God by how much you love your God. Go ahead.
And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. 3 times you shall keep a feast unto me in the year. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it you came out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of your labors, which you have sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is at the end of the year, when you have gathered in your labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before Yahweh your Elohim.
3 times in the year shall all your males appear before Yahweh your Elohim. We know that this automatically goes to a higher level, because we read in the book of Job, each time it was time for the angels to make their appearance, and Satan came also. So in all his deception, when it's time to make an appearance, he there. That is quite interesting. That he would lead us into folly every which way he can. But he never misses his opportunity to make his appearance. Even Saul said, I must by all means keep this feast at Jerusalem. Yahweh has given us grace in these times that we can gather together without even physically being together. Our people didn't have the opportunity of internet. They didn't have the opportunity to gather with people from all across the world and say, all right, we're going out at this time. So everybody go out at this time together. Didn't have an opportunity to send an offering without even being there. Like it is written, greater works than these shall you do. Why? Because we have technology to be able to do it. The works we do can't shake a stick at what our fathers did. They had to physically get on a mule. You know how slow a mule is? We judge a fast car by horsepower. How many horses is a mule? It ain't. You got 0.5 horsepower. Man, I got a go-kart that's got 5. It's got at least 5 horsepower. A mule is 0 horsepower. And they go from city to city with 0 horsepower. Now that was work. What we got is easy. And we don't even know it. But what is looked upon as great unto Yahweh is our obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So rather than focusing on what we give, let's focus on how we give. It's better to bring $1 with a pure and empty heart, not filled with aggression and hatred, than to offer $10,000 begrudgingly. Go ahead, brother.
You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain unto the morning. The first of the first fruits of your land you shall bring unto the house of Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not see the kid in his mother's milk.
All right, so that's all that we're going to do for tonight. And we are going to prepare to make our appearance unto Yahweh our Elohim. We are going to go outside and face the east. And all males will offer up their prayers unto our Elohim. And as it is written, none shall come before me empty. It is 11 o'clock here, Eastern Standard Time. We will make our appearance at 11:05. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.